150 Years of Being Canadian. Yukon. For such outstanding wilderness, survival is the way. You'd think this part of Canada didn't border USA. From the gold rush centuries gone by, the settlers came up here and started something way up north, land of the polar bear. And also the fur trade brought people bold and brave to a land of Inuit culture. This charms what we'd like to save. Pierre Burton, born in Whitehorse, has brought pride to our great nation. From the 60s to the 80s, he was on our TV stations. There are more moose than people. The wilderness abounds. It's mostly in the cities where the population's found. Whitehorse, Tombstone, Beaver Creek, Old Crow, and also Dawson. Carcross, Carmocks, Watson Lake, Hain Junction, Pelly Crossing. In winter, which seems much the year, dog mushing or snowshoeing, ice climbing, snowmobiling, amazing aurora borealis viewing. In the months of May and June, the tundra turns to crimson. The weather, it gets warmer and the fireweed's beauty sets in. The climate of the tundra has a low humidity. In cold there is no dampness. Summer heat, dry and windy. The highest peak in Canada, largest non-polar ice fields, Mackenzie, Yukon rivers have quite the fishing yields. Vast kilometers of shoreline along the Beaufort Sea. The Arctic Circle crosses through. Floating ice is what you'll see. There's grizzly bears and moose and elk, marmot and caribou, and also herds of wild horses, porcupine and foxes too. Hunting, angling, canoeing, and kayak guides of every sort. Wilderness has tourism for the ultimate outdoor sport. Whether hot springs or skiing, or just scenery that's pretty. Maybe 98 Ballroom Dance Hall, or gambling at Diamond Tooth Gertie. Binnett House in Mayo, or a museum up in Teslin. Sculpture, murals, street art, soapstone carvings to invest in. If you'd like to have experience that's a little off the charts, take a trip up to the Yukon and explore all of its parts. The Northwest Territories. The fur trade and missions and RCMP were the first people here who were not Aborigine. Back in the day, the Inuit were a nomadic race, surviving the harsh climate, hunting, fishing in each place. With 11 official languages spoken on a daily basis, and the highest rate in Canada for births of all the places. It has three main regions, Mackenzie Valley, islands, mainland, that all look a little different, solid ice or rock or tree land. Quite a different kind of desert, Arctic tundra, boreal forest, places found by bush pilots, not for your average tourist. The Arctic archipelago are islands, ice and snow. The mainland is Canada's shield, barren rock, no soil, no. And in Mackenzie Valley is where you'll find the trees, and also bogs and muskeg that tend to melt and freeze. There are quite a lot of rivers and great trips to waterfalls, with Great Slave Lake and Great Bear Lake, Mother Nature calls. The Mackenzie River is so long it runs from south to north and empties in the Beaufort Sea. A delta of ice flows forth. The capital, called Yellowknife, has some different things to give. There's an interesting plethora of homes where one can live, with fish shacks, cabins, mansions, floating homes and B&Bs, and the Snow Kings Winter Festival, or the Long John Jamboree. The colored homes of Inuvik, with pipes above the ground. Sometimes the highways to the north only in winter are found. The larger population spots, Hay River or Bachenko, Norman Wells, Fort Smith and Simpson, mostly by air you can go. A nation's park, wood buffalo, from 1922, protects a herd of bison, whooping crane's extinction too. In winter, there is endless dark, in summer only light. Would you want to live in a place where all there is night? Well, perhaps if there was quite a show of northern lights, okay. But how to sleep in summer when the nights lit up like day? A different sort of living you'll find here in the north, the territory's ruggedness, an experience of worth. None of it. The largest, newest territory that is Canadian is made from the North Hudson Bay and Beaufort Sea Islands. It was first formed on April 1st in 1999. The Northwest was cut down in size with a new dividing line. The capital is Iqaluit, set out on Baffin Island, near mountains, rivers, waterfalls, and quite amazing parkland. A land where the indigenous have lived 4,000 years, feeding on whale pulp and fish and seals, and sometimes polar bears. The northmost place where people dwell of any else on earth is Alert on Ellesmere Island, lowest population worth. Above the Arctic Circle, you'll find North Magnetic Pole. It dips down 40 degrees below. Extreme weather takes its toll. This must be why the ratio of caribou to person, 600 to 1's the figure, if this planet doesn't worsen. Beautiful rock is what Inuit call the marble on Baffin Island that was left behind by glaciers that scraped off any highland. Frobisher and Hudson, William Baffin, Robert Bylot searched for a northwest passage, but there's no successful pilot. Through Baffin Bay and Davis Strait, icy waters they plowed forth. Ice and snow that's inaccessible forms the islands of the north. Inuktitut and English and French are spoken here, this land of lemmings, marmots, foxes, caribou, and deer. Snow geese, kittiwakes, ivory gulls, all Arctic birds, have summer homes and breeding grounds. Their abundance is absurd. Mining oil, gas, and minerals, arts and crafts and tourists some. Dog sledding, whaling, cruises, wildlife viewings why they come. No link to North America by any rail or road. Supplies and fuel flown in by plane is the transportation mode. If you're concerned with global warming, drastic climate change occurring, melting permafrost and thinning ice is this population's worry. A friendly, lively people with art steeped in tradition. None of it is where you can canoe, hike, camp, or just go fishing.